Just Lane. Princess Leonor wear the crown. World monarchs break protocol to celebrate. Imagine the crown, gleaming beneath centuries of tradition, resting on the head of a monarch whose every move is governed by strict rules of protocol. Now imagine this. Instead of bowing to formality, that same monarch dares to break centuries of expectation, stepping outside the lines to celebrate in a way no royal has ever dared before. But here's the twist: what looks like a scandal could, in fact, be a moment of truth, a gesture of humanity that brings the monarchy closer to its people than ever before. For centuries, monarchs have walked a delicate line. Bound by ritual, elevated by symbolism, and separated from their people by layers of tradition, they wear not only crowns but also the invisible weight of duty. Yet what happens when that weight grows too heavy? What happens when a moment calls not for the rigid script of the past, but for the beating heart of the present? That is the question gripping royal watchers across Europe and beyond today. Because it is no longer simply about ceremonies, parades, and carefully measured appearances. The crown is not just gold and jewels, it is power, expectation, and story. And the story unfolding now is one unlike any we've seen before. A monarch faced with the choice: follow the ironclad rules that have endured for centuries, or break them for a celebration that reveals their deepest humanity. Picture the moment. Crowds gathering, waiting to see the familiar procession of horses, uniforms, and orchestras. Cameras fixed, journalists ready, expecting the same perfection of protocol. But then, a pause. A smile. A gesture unexpected. A break in tradition. And suddenly, instead of cold distance, warmth. Instead of ritual, reality. For the first time, the crown feels alive. But here lies the tension. Every monarch who has ever dared to step outside of tradition has faced both adoration and criticism. Some have been hailed as visionaries, connecting with their people in ways no scripted ritual ever could. Others have been accused of weakening the very foundation of monarchy itself. And that is why this moment matters so much. Because it isn't just about a single celebration. It's about what the crown represents, and whether its strength comes from being untouchable, or from being human. Royal families across Europe know this all too well. From the Windsors in the United Kingdom, whose strict codes have defined generations, to the Danish royals, often celebrated for their warmth, to the Spanish monarchy, where Princess Leonor now steps forward into history, the balance between duty and emotion has always been precarious. And when the crown is placed upon a head, the choice between tradition and personal truth becomes more than symbolic, it becomes defining. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in the shoes of that monarch. The world's eyes are on you. Generations of history echo behind you. And yet, before you stand thousands of your people, yearning not for ceremony but for connection. Do you follow the ancient script, or do you break it for them? The decision is not simple. Because one step away from protocol could mean rewriting the future. The public, of course, is divided. Some cry out for change, arguing that monarchy, to survive, must evolve. That its relevance depends on showing compassion, authenticity, and heart. Others warn of danger, that too much humanity risks eroding the mystery, the sanctity, the divine aura that makes monarchy what it is. And here lies the paradox: to remain untouchable is to risk irrelevance. To connect too deeply is to risk collapse. This is why the image of a monarch breaking protocol to celebrate is so electrifying. Because it embodies that paradox in one breathtaking act. Was it reckless? Or was it visionary? Was it weakness? Or was it strength? The answer may depend not only on the act itself, but on how history remembers it. Consider the great monarchs of the past. Those who clung to ritual at all costs are remembered as guardians, but often as distant. Those who dared to bend the rules are remembered as beloved, though sometimes at great cost. What will history say of this crown, this moment, this celebration that broke the mold? And what of the crown itself, the ultimate symbol of continuity? Can it endure when its wearer dares to step beyond its rigid frame? Or does that daring act actually ensure its survival, breathing new life into something that otherwise risks fading into irrelevance? As the days unfold, as the world continues to debate and react, one thing is certain: the image of a monarch breaking protocol to celebrate has already carved itself into history. And whether seen as scandal or triumph, it reveals a truth that cannot be ignored, that behind the crown, behind the ceremony, behind the centuries of tradition, there beats a human heart. And perhaps that, more than anything, is what keeps the crown alive. Not the weight of protocol, but the willingness, in moments that matter, to set it aside and remind the world that monarchy is not only about power and ritual, it is about people, love, and the fragile thread of connection between ruler and ruled. So the question remains, will future monarchs follow this daring example, reshaping the meaning of the crown? Or will they retreat once again into ritual, fearing the risks of too much humanity? History is watching. The people are waiting. And the crown, as always, is listening.